I never thought that sealing my neighbor's illegal wells would unravel a massive HOA corruption scheme and completely change the fate of the land I inherited. How would you feel if you found out your property was being secretly exploited by the very people who claim to safeguard your community? I nearly dropped my coffee mug when I caught sight of a massive drilling rig rumbling across my backfield. Two guys in hard hats were measuring something, while a third marked the ground with bright orange spray paint. I rubbed my eyes, thinking I might still be half asleep, but nosed rangers with heavy machinery were definitely trespassing on my land. "Hey!" I yelled, jogging toward them. "What do you think you're doing on my property?" The tallest worker glanced up, unfazed. "Setting up to drill a well, sir." "A well? On my land? Who gave you permission?" He fished some folded papers from his pocket. "Cedar Hills HOA. Got all the paperwork right here." I snatched the documents from him. Sure enough, there was an official-looking permit with the HOA logo stamped at the top, claiming they had approval to drill water wells along the eastern edge of my property. "This has to be a mistake," I said. "I never agreed to this." The worker shrugged. "Not our problem, pal. We just go where they tell us." My grandfather had left me this 5-acre plot when he passed away last year. It sat next to Cedar Hills Estates, a ritzy neighborhood with sprawling homes and strict rules. I'd never joined their HOA. Me land predated their development. "Look, you need to pack up and leave," I insisted. "I don't care what that paper says. This is private property." The foreman pulled out his phone. "Let me call the HOA president. She'll sort this out." 20 minutes later, a sleek black SUV rolled up to my gate. A woman with impeccable hair and designer sunglasses stepped out, striding toward us like she owned the place. "Mr. Carter, I'm Linda Grayson, president of Cedar Hills Homeowners Association," she said, not bothering to offer a handshake. "I understand there's some confusion." "There's no confusion," I shot back. "These men are trespassing and I want them gone." Linda's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Actually, when your grandfather sold the adjacent land to our developers a decade ago, he signed an easement agreement. During water emergencies, the HOA can access the aquifer beneath your property. We're in a severe drought, as I'm sure you've noticed." "I've never heard of any easement," I said, a knot tightening in my stomach. She handed me another document, my grandfather's signature scrawled at the bottom. "It's all legal," she said smugly. I scanned the fine print. She was right. It allowed one emergency well. But something felt wrong. "This says one well, not multiple," I pointed out, noticing more orange markers dotting my field. Linda waved a hand. "The situation's escalated. Our lawyers say the agreement's intent allows multiple wells in extreme shortages." "That's not what it says," I argued. "Feel free to call our attorneys," she replied, already turning to leave. "We'll proceed as planned. The community needs water." As her SUV sped off, the workers unloaded more gear. Something wasn't adding up. We'd had dry weather, sure, but nothing I'd call a crisis. My own well was fine. That night I couldn't sleep, the hum of machinery echoing under floodlights. By morning, they'd finished one well and started another. I called the county water authority. "Any declared emergencies?" The clerk sounded puzzled. "No, sir. We're at level 1 conservation voluntary lawn watering limits." Now I was suspicious. I drove into Cedar Hills Estates. For a community supposedly desperate for water, their lawns were lush, sprinklers whirring, and a crew was filling the pool. Then I saw ETA sign, "Coming soon, Cedar Hills luxury water features in Resident Lake." I snapped a photo. This wasn't about Survey Val, they wanted my water for decorations. Back home, 3 drilling teams were tearing up my land. My neighbor, Tom Harris, watched from my driveway. "Big project they're putting in," he said. "You know about this?" I asked. He nodded. "Linda announced it at the last meeting. Said they'd tap the aquifer for new amenities. Property values will jump 15 Fantram with those water features." My blood boiled. She told me it was an emergency shortage. Tom chuckled. "Shortage of luxury, maybe." My wife Ellen is on the landscaping committee. They've been planning this for months. I thanked him and called a lawyer. Attorney W.I.D. Brooks met me that afternoon. "They're exceeding the easement," he said after reviewing the papers. "One well for emergencies only. Can I stop them?" I asked. "Yes, but it'll take time. File for an injunction could be a week. Document everything, photos, conversations, active VY tie logs. By evening, they drilled 3 wells and started a 4th, ripping up my garden and damaging trees my grandfather planted decades ago. I photographed the destruction. Then I noticed the pipes. They weren't heading to Cedar Hills but to an empty lot next door. I followed them and found stakes. Future site of Lake VYW Mall and Entertainment Complex. Were they selling my water to developers? That night, an HOA letter arrived, listing violations on my property: overgrown grass, fence height, unauthorized structures threatening thousands, and fines. This was war. But how could I fight their wealth and influence? At 5 a.m., I watched Linda inspect the progress: 4 wells done, 3 more marked. She waved cheerily when she saw me. The gall of that woman. After she left, I called my buddy Chris, a contractor. I need a cement mixer today. Patio project, he asked. Something like that. How much concrete to fill an 8-inch 40-foot shaft? He whistled. That's specific. A lot. What's up? Just options, I said. I hit 3 hardware stores in different towns, buying quickset concrete bags discreetly. The easement allowed wells but said nothing about what I could do afterward. No maintenance rights guaranteed. As I mixed my first batch, Ellen Harris showed up. Heard you had questions about our water project, she said, peering toward my garage. I'm on the landscaping committee here to clarify. Nice of you, I replied, blocking her view. Why'd Linda say this was an emergency when it's for luxury features? She shifted. It's complicated. The drought's real, but we're planning ahead. Between us, the board's collected fees for years. Members expect something big. And the mall. Her eyes widened. What mall? The one your pipes lead to. She looked confused. Our plans are just for Cedar Hills. So the board was hiding things even from her. That night, at 2 a.m., with the crews gone and the guard asleep, I poured concrete into the first well, adding scrap metal for strength. By dawn it was sealed. I repeated this over 2 nights, filling 3 wells. On the 4th morning, Linda stormed in with 2 suits. The wells are sabotaged, she snapped. Someone filled them with concrete. I played dumb. That's awful. It's your property, responsible. I never approved them, I said coolly. The easement doesn't make me their guard. Her lawyer, Paul Evans, chimed in. This cost us law $50,000. It's on your violations tab. Funny, I said, my photos prove those violations didn't exist before your cruise. A detective, Mark Sullivan, added, vandalism like this could be a felony. I showed him photos of pipes to the mall site. Why are emergency wells feeding a commercial project? No droughts declared. Linda paled. I've recorded our talks, I bluffed, including your overreach. The detective raised an eyebrow. Linda offered a week. Maybe a compromise? Nope, I said. My lawyers filed an injunction. The county and EPA are curious too. They left rattled. Later, I caught a worker photographing my garage. An unfamiliar car cruised by slowly. Someone was watching. The VYD called. The judge is interested, but it's a week out. The HOA's cozy with the zoning board fast-tracked permits. They've got pull, I sighed. That night, a tanker from Evergreen Development filled up at a well. I tailed it to the mall site, water into storage tanks. I sent a VYD the pics. This could nail them, he said. Linda returned with a law $5,000 compensation offer. And we'll waive your fines, Paul added. I'm not in your HOA, I reminded them. This project's happening, Linda hissed. Interfere and you'll regret it. Threats? I asked. Reality, she snapped. I cemented another well that night, despite new patrols. At 3 a.m., I had an idea. I called Chris again. Another mixer. No questions. By dawn, we planned. I bought more concrete discreetly. We sealed 4 wells by noon, dodging Linda's crew as they arrived. Stop, she shrieked. Home improvement, I said, pouring. You'll bury yourself in fees, her VP, Greg Larson, barked. I handed over photos of their exclusive retreat, plan snapped through Greg's window. Not an emergency, huh? A county official and cop arrived, I'd called them. No permits for aquifer drilling, the official said. Trespassing reported, the cop added. As Chris sealed the last well, Linda's scheme crumbled. This isn't over, she spat. But it was. The cemented well stood firm. 3 weeks later, I was the cement crusader online. The news broke. Cedar Hills HOA sold water rights in fake drought. Linda's crew had faked a crisis to siphon my water for a developer 2 miles away. At a chaotic town hall, EVY Danke piled up fake minutes, payouts to Linda's firm. Greg confessed under pressure from his wife, Lisa. Linda faced fraud charges. The HOA was gutted. 2 months on, neighbors apologized, proposing a preserve on my drilled land-cemented wells as a lesson. Volunteers planted trees, named a center after my grandfather. Linda glared from her SUV one last time, defeated. At the dedication, the mayor handed me a key. One person's stand reminded us what community means, he said. My grandfather's land, once a battleground, became a shared legacy, proof that closing some doors opens better ones.